Hello everyone. Today in this video we will explore the unknown world of reduce and reduceRight methods. At first, let's see what books say about these methods. In the book, JavaScript: The Definitive Guide, David Flanagan says, the reduce and reduceRight methods combine the elements of an array using the function you specify to produce a single value. This is a common operation in functional programming and also goes by the names inject and fold. In addition, in the book ES6 Tutorials Point, they say reduce method applies a function simultaneously against two values of the array from left to right, as to reduce it to a single value. And reduceRight method applies a function simultaneously against two values of the array from right to left, as to reduce it to a single value. To help you understand well, I've created this presentation for you. So in general, when you're working with reduce and reduceRight methods, you have two scenarios. You specify an initial value, or you do not specify an initial value for this method. First, let's explore the first scenario, when you don't have an initial value. So as you can see, this is our array. And here is our reduce method. So the reduce method expects a function as its first argument, and it can also have an optional second argument as its initial value. At first, we don't have an initial value. We will see to it later. So the function that reduce expects can have up to 4 arguments, previous value or initial value, since we don't have initial value. Here we have previous value, otherwise the first argument will define the initial value. For the second argument, we have current value. We can also have index to define the starting index and array as third and fourth arguments. But we don't need them here. We want to start from the very beginning of the array, and we're good with our array as well, so let's spare them. And in this function, we are adding current value to previous value. Now, let's see what is going under hood of the function. So here, since we don't have an initial value, the previous value of this function is the first element of the array, that is 1, and the current value is the second element of the array, that is 2. And here is the sum of the previous and current values, that is 3. Now the result of the function becomes the first argument or previous value, and the current value is the third element of the array. Now previous value is 6, and the current value is the fourth element of the array. And in the end, the final result is 15. So up to now, we examined reduce method without initial value. Now let's see how we can work with reduce method that have an initial value. So this is our array, and here is our reduce method with an initial value as the second argument of the reduce method. As you can see, instead of previous value, here we have initial value as the first argument. The second argument is same as before the current value, then same as before we are adding current value to previous value, which in this case is the initial value. So here the first argument is 10 that we have specified as the second argument of the reduce method, and the current value is the first element of the array. And the result of reduction in this stage is 11. Now, the result of the reduction of the array in the previous stage is the first argument of this function, and the second argument is the second element of the array. From now on, up to end of the array, the procedure is the same. The result of function becomes the first argument of the function, and the next element of the array becomes the second argument of the function, as you can see here. So finally, the result of the reduction of this array becomes 25. Now let's see all these steps in action and start coding. So first, let's create an array. Populate it with some values. Now let's call our array and pick reduce method. At first, we will work with reduce method without initial value. So P is short for previous value, and C is short for current value. Now, let's add current value to previous value. We are done here. So let's store the result of this reduction in a constant and call it result. Now let's log it in the console. Save the document and refresh the browser. Amazing! Here's our result. Now let's assign an initial value of 10 to reduce method. Save the document and refresh the browser. You see? Now the result is 25. In the end, let's see how we can work with reduceRight method. So basically, reduceRight is the reverse reduce method. It starts from largest index and ends to the smallest index. Other qualities of reduceRight and reduce methods are the same. You can have up to 4 arguments in its function, and also you can have an initial value as its optional second argument. So here we have p short for previous value, or in this case, basically initial value as its first argument, and c short for current value as its second argument. Now, we are subtracting current value from initial value. And let's pass 10 as its initial value. We are done here. Now let's store the result in a constant and call it result of subtraction. Now let's log it in the console. Save the document and refresh the browser. Beautiful! Here is the result of subtraction. We have reached the end of another video. If you liked it, hit the subscribe button and give us a beautiful thumb. See you next time.